This is a public announcement from G-Dog.
What do you want me to do now?
What? The same thing you do all the time.
What, you want me to move it from here to here?
Well, yeah, you moaned you're cold. That's not a round of applause you can hear. That's G-Dog's arse cheeks slapping together because he's so cold. All right, so here we are, day 4 of the build.
Day 4.
Yeah.
It feels like about 6 months.
Oh, that's the weeks we're leading up to the build. This is the good stuff.
Well, I've had a move round.
Yeah, well, the crap's now this side.
Which we built last week.
So we're going to attempt to cover all of this today, get this all covered up, get this all carved, and we're going to work on this beauty right here as well. So we've got this in. We did have to build a platform leading up to it because you can't quite climb up, or you'd have to build a ramp leading up to it. But what we want to be able to do is come from under here and then kind of hook on here and travel around here. And then we're going to try and bring it up so that you can return back. And once we've done all that, we're going to be working on the big bouncer hill and the climb around this edge right around here as well. So yeah, plenty to do today and tomorrow.
And why has it gone cold again?
Yeah, it's freezing.
Why am I having to wear a woolly hat?
It's been really cold this week, like bitterly cold. We retreated to a bit of nice weather, and then
I was in shorts and t-shirts.
the wind cut through and just brought some minus.
No.
Yeah, it's even a bit of snow and everything. So absolutely rock hard. Absolutely gone. Really, really good. Nice and hard. Right. It's still very dusty and shiny. That's the other thing you've got to watch out when you use neat cement. You'll get this like film, which is really shiny. You really struggle about how much grip you got. There's a bit of stone in there, but it's still very shiny. So that's why you've got to seal it or paint it, because that will get rid of that shininess. Right. I suppose we better get carving this chunk, because of all of this will then give us bits to put around to cover up.
As if we ain't got enough.
Yeah, look, we've got a bit more. Won't take long for that to go, I tell you though.
No, not once we build over.
No, and again, we're going to have a bit of a kind of carving on this side, but actually the rock bouncer, which is going to go against the wall, probably a good, couple of feet wide. That's a, slope, and then we'll cut through on a couple of ledges. I might even drag do a bouncer run that kind of weaves up round the sides as well, up onto the top tier. So yeah, going to be fun and interesting to get that all built in. But again, it's a lot of airspace lost in the back. We might try and do a cut in or a dive in just to kind of take back some of that square footage in the back. But we always knew doing the drift course within this was going to be a plot killer.
Is it a drift course or is it a mountain road?
Well, it's a road that we drift on. Or drive and smash into rocks on.
Now there's my
It'd be more like a pinball for you, but we'll get there. We're going to get there. We're going to have a go. So this is, we left the last video, we hadn't put this on. This is a lovely bit of driftwood that G-Dog has had stuffed in his wardrobe.
It's been around for
a very long time. And what we're going to try and do is cut it away a little bit and shape it, because there is in here a nice big ridge that you can get a tyre in. And that can get you up to this point here. And I reckon with a bit of spray foam, we can probably fill in some of this and create another rib that takes you all the way down. I don't know where you're going to go once you got there. But, we thought about that bit. But even if we can kind of get here and it's like a photo opportunity, wherefore you kind of get your wheel onto there and you kind of hang in and you can take a photograph of it. Maybe that's kind of the end point. The old, a bit of a challenge, try and get yourself just swinging up here. But we're definitely going to turn this into an obstacle, into a feature. If we can get the return, wherefore you can kind of attempt to go. That causes a big problem because it pushes the rig underneath. Which means it will fall off. So we've either got to try and pack all that out, or we have to just leave it wherefore you kind of get to there, and that is kind of where it stops. But yeah, this is going to look absolutely stunning once it's all moulded in and painted up. Waste not, want not, that's what we did. All right, okay, so I am going to be using the hacksaw blade for this carve, and what we're going to try and do is create kind of gradual incline within like a valley, so that it's a, I suppose, more, you know, a bit of a bouncer run than a crawler course. It's not going to be, you know, if I stepped it, you'd get most rigs up there. But actually what we want to be able to do is limit the capability. So you've really got to have something, you know, a bit tuned to get up it.
I mean, you've got to spend some money on the rig.
Or know what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and you know, yeah, we could make it a bit more doable for everybody, but we've got these other lines, we've got things. The whole point of this course was to add some new gnarly lines in there that will just kind of make it a little bit more harder to get around. So because the cloth smoothens a lot of things out, you can afford to go a little bit more dramatic. So we were saying about the fact that we didn't have no spray foam on the last one, and with the spray foam, again, you can use the hacksaw blade to just sharpen up the bulges. So you're using the bulges as a reference, just kind of slicing them up however they're formed to kind of create yourself jagged rocks, and then you can just cover it over and it will give you these nice steps. But actually I'm going to be cutting quite a lot of this out, so I'm going to put the camera down, I'm going to get a big saw and start carving some real big chunks out. Alright, so taking the bulk of it out now with the big saw. So now I'm just going to go back on the hacksaw. This is a lot more flexible, so you can put it in a U shape, and then basically you can carve in a little bit easier to just fine it up a bit. So you can see, not very clear actually, but you've got a kicker at the end, so it kind of goes up a lot steeper. Steep this out a little bit more and get this all carved out. And then we're going to make it a lot, it's quite gnarly as you come down this base here. So there's, you know, this is where you're in the channel, and you're going to try and fight your way all the way up to the top. It's always difficult to see when you're carving. It always looks much better once you've got a bit of cloth down. So I'm going to crack on and get this bit ready. And then all we're doing is just putting all the rubbish into a pile, and we're going to stack it all over these plain old runs and then coat them up with good old cement. Yeah, always makes a lot of mess. That's why you have a G-Dog. So we're going to scoop up a lot of this. We actually piled some of it already in here. We never waste this stuff. We never put it in the bin. We know we're going to collect waste, so we have areas in which we're going to pile up waste. And that's kind of what's going to be up there. Big chunks of waste all the way along here and all the way along this back edge here, which leads you onto this bridge. And then once you cloth over it, it's there for good, and it makes for a nice sub-terrain. Right, so difficult to see, but what we've got going on is you're kind of right down here. You're going to kind of go all the way up, keep going all the way up, and then there's a bit of a kicker right at the end to kind of get up and over. And then we've just realised that we've actually got this nice line coming up here and across, and we've just carved this entrance out so that you can then get up round this edge as well. So 2 lines out of this, which you can't ask for much more. Right, I suppose better tidy up. Well, I suppose
I'll tidy up.
You tidy up. Alright, so what we're doing is just sieving through all the broken bits that we've got lying around, and we're just going to kind of position them in, you know, a relatively decent, you know, understanding kind of how the rigs perform, and creating some up ramps in areas so that you stand a bit of a chance. You know, you don't want it just sheer facing and only being able to get over it if you've got kind of a high breakover. But we're not trying to make it too easy. It kind of gets really bumpy under here. We're going to leave this little lump kind of free so you've got a bit of maneuverability, and then we're going to come back down on this edge. See, stuff like that, you know, you kind of just wanted to spin it round and find the ramp area to it and just kind of lay them in place. And then when you drape over it, it'll create this sub base that you can then dress up and use natural rocks to kind of build it up. Right. Bits of chunks in there, a few bits in there. Let's take that one away because it's already quite gnarly there. And like we said before, we're actually going to kind of do each bit as we go along. So I think what we'll do is knock up a small batch of cement and start to drape this area, and that will then get that. So I'm just trying to get this right in the corner, build up a little corner so it's a little bit of a going to get up onto that side there, and it just makes that look a little bit better. I might carve that one in a little bit or break it up. Ooh. Just break it in pieces just so it breaks it up. Like I say, it'll all soften off once you put the drape cloth over it. And that bit on the corner. Okay. Right, so we've edged it as well, just with some polystyrene. Sorry, this is the insulation. We've just edged it up a little bit, just so it breaks the straightness of the edge. We're going to get this all jaggedy as well, and then we're going to get it covered right across here, all the way to this point here, and then we're ready to work on the next section where this one is drying. Right, you ready, G-Dog?
I'm just trying to find everything I need.
It was where you left it last week.
I can't remember where I left it.
But you moved everything this morning.
Yeah. I moved everything again.
And
it's here.
I'm going to keep it quite low though here because you've got to get underneath it. That does go. You tested that with a big 1/18, yeah?
I did, yeah.
So 1/18 will go through there. So yeah, all good. Right, ready? 1,000, 2,000, 20. You found your paddle yet?
Yeah, it's over there. I'm trying to find the 5 litre, 10 litre, 25 litre canister that we put water in.
Well, the water.
Yeah.
How have you mislaid it already?
I haven't.
Well, clearly you have, because
Always me.
well, you've been here tidying up. It's on camera. You confessed it on camera. Stop.
Last week.
It's like a Where's Wally game in this place.
It is.
There he is. Found him.
The fairies come in and they move stuff.
Oh, well, I'll dig out another one. I know where there's loads. Don't work with old people. He's lost it. He's absolutely lost it. I found it, by the way. It was just down there underneath the desk where we left it last week. Hey. Anyway, let's show you where we're at. All right, so that is the corner all done. Now this is still done in the tight woven Hessian, and G-Dog is now prepping some more Hessian, but this is a little looser cloth or woven one. Just there is the tight woven, and this is the loose woven. So we're going to see what that one's like. This tight woven, definitely heavy, but it forms really nice and it holds itself. Like, you tuck it under, you smooth it out, and it just holds the line really well. So that might be because of the actual meshing of the material that we're just getting this nice form. And then I'm just about to do our usual trick, get some postcrete, sprinkle it all over while it's still wet, and then we're going to crack on and keep rolling. Alright, so we've just used the first test of the loose woven one, and here is the problem. It's a bit like the plaster cloths. You can see the weave through it. It's not the biggest problem in the world, because we can just recover it once it's dry with some cement, and that will cure it. Does mean more work, because over here we didn't have to do a second coat or anything. We just dipped the cloth, pushed it on, job done. Same as with the drop cloth, you don't have to do a second coat. But we've got this Hessian, we've got quite a lot of it, so we're going to use it, and we'll just have to second coat it. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. And then suddenly it looks a little bit more like something than just a big pile of that. It never ends up as gnarly as you think it's going to do, though. It's still pretty steep, but I reckon you probably get, to be honest with you, I reckon you might even get the camel trophies up there, which will be good.
Really?
Yeah, I reckon I could. I mean, the kicker is a kicker. That is a 4-inch kicker up the top. That might be the thing that folds you back down constantly. This line coming up through here up into that crest in there is pretty gnarly, because you've got this big hole to contend with. So you're definitely going to need something competent there. And then that's all done at the top.
Bit of a gnarly trail.
And then, yeah, it's definitely a nice trail. It's not like crazy bumpy like the Bone Shaker on the other side, or the 360. There's definitely more of, you know, a trail rather than a bumpy road. And then that's all done around the back. There's a couple of obstacle bumps, you know, quite gnarly bumps as you got that back lane as well, up over the top. And then, yeah, looking forward to it, man. Looks good. Hands warmed up yet?
No, it's still cold down here. I tell you, you just can't win.
Go stand outside for 5 minutes and warm up.
It's warm up.
Okay, so we are at the corner now. We're just going to tie it all in, and this is going to be the rock bouncer hill. We've always wanted a big rock bouncer hill that's got a nice bit of height, so this is probably going to have a kind of 3 or 4 foot lift. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a real harsh kind of incline on this to the flat top. This we're actually going to have a real divot, and then a kind of vertical pinch coming up and then onto it, and then it will also cut across and create another bouncer run going off to the side. We're also then going to come down here, and we're going to scoop this and then create a divot to climb just on this bit to bring it up onto this tabletop here. And we're also going to pull a line all the way around it, so then you can come off here. So there's quite a lot going on in this corner. And basically what we're going to be doing is just stacking a ton of styrene up so that we can really eat away at it and carve it, because that's the best way of doing this type of thing to get the best result, is to carve it. So do you know where your steaks are?
Steaks?
You know, your little skewers?
They are there.
Oh, he knows where they are. Oh, look. All right, so we're gonna pad this all out. I'm gonna get some spray foam in, and then yeah, get carving. Let's open her up, see what it reveals. Oh, got a lip of tissue.
Turn it over.
Oh, nice. That's all right. Keep going.
That broke the wrong side.
Yeah, we'll work with it. Happy little mistakes. Good old Bob Ross. If he taught us anything.
Right. It's like opening up a Christmas present.
Yeah.
Oh. Did we want a bit more out of...
Yeah, well, it should have snapped a bit more. Oh, there we go. Saw's been in there somewhere. Yeah, don't worry about that one too much. See if we can get some of this corner out. Oh, he's getting his claws in it now.
Can't really get in there, Captain. We need a bit more of a saw down there because it broke the wrong side.
Well, let's have a look. I told you we were going to make it a lot gnarlier. So, yeah. We've got a vertical thin kind of cavern here, and we're going to try and bring it up and step it back. We'll put some chunks on and going to spray foam around it so that we can then carve it. We got it's not so steep here, but it's quite gnarly, and then it really does kind of get quite steep there. And I think what we're going to do is we're just going to scratch out the runway through it as well, just to kind of hold you in it a little bit. Especially maybe we'll leave it we'll kind of carve it around some of this, you know, like they do on the actual, you know, busted knuckles, so that you're kind of weaving in and out some of the harsher rocks. So it's not just a straightforward climb, although if you wanted to climb it, then I suggest you could take it as the crow flies. And then what we're going to try and do is come off here to join this up and stack it all around this side, and then create another scoop just here to block that up and create that into a line. So yeah, just got to keep piling and stacking, and then spray foam it all together with a bit of spray foam butter. Right, let's find some more styrene. Okay. These never look very big on camera until you kind of put somebody in the picture and you realize how high and tall these are. So we're just working on this little reveal here. So this goes into the tunnel, and this goes around the back and it pops out here, and then this is going to be like Jacob's ladder or something, kind of big stones that you come up onto this top platform here, and then we're going to have it coming up and around. It's a bit of a sheer face, so there's only one way down and up. This will continue and kind of sweep up on top of the ledge, which then is where your bouncer and your vertical climb is. We're going to carve these steps down a little bit more, just so that but obviously we've got to slam everything with spray foam to bind it all together before we can get the final carves done. This is kind of just blocking out roughly what we need, and then we'll hit it with spray foam, and then like we did over there, carve it all into position and reveal a nice, beautiful landscape. All right, we attacked it with the spray foam, so that's all the joints and everything all spray foamed up. And created our off ramp for the cliff front here, so that'll pick you up as you're coming around the other side. And then there's quite a lot. Although we've lost a lot of dead space in this big, we've got a lot going on. So you've got your main rock bouncer, which we can carve all the way up, and then you can obviously crow fly it. You've got this divot that you're going to come up onto these ridges and steps. It's all obviously harsh now. It's got to be carved into doable. We've got this little line coming all the way up here, which then exits either off this area here, which is quite a gnarly transfer, or you can come down, or you can try to go up once that's all carved. Got the line on the back, and you've got the line coming forwards and then down these steps as well, which is we might have to kind of create a bit of an overhang as well, just to pick up the wheel, depending on what we can get once we've carved it. But I think it's going to look cool. This literally scrapes the back end of the drifter course, so we're going to cut all this with the line. So to gain this line, you come off the road and then up this side as well. So yeah, a lot of things going on. But I think it'll look, once we kind of clear the chaos, I think it's going to look absolutely insane. All right, well, we're nearly wrapping up day 4. We're back in tomorrow to do that monstrosity.
Yeah, what are we going to do with that?
Well, let's let it go off and see where the wind takes us tomorrow. It's pretty gnarly, and yeah. It's good though, you know. We'll get it done. It'll do what it does, and then
if you can get up it, you can. If you can't,
we'll shape it. Well, yeah, definitely be areas you can go up. You know, that's not that crazy. It definitely gets crazier. That's a little steeper than this one. So this is definitely the easy line up. Yeah. Nice and easy and continuous. It's got a bit of a gnarly exchange at the end, but yeah, that's all good. And we're hopefully going to get this all covered from this bridge line that leads you to this lovely piece of wood that we're going to spray and stone up. And we've got, once we mix up, we're just going to finish this little section here. You can clearly see it hasn't been done. But actually, we thought we were going to have a bit of a problem with this thick Hessian. And I have to say, we were a little bit cautious over here. And you can just see it faintly coming through there, but everywhere else is actually covered first go. So we haven't actually had to recover it at all. So yeah, really happy with that. So we're going to do all this, get all this all covered up. This will just be painted, a couple of coats of cement, and that will be hard enough for the drifters that will soon stop them in their tracks. Quite a nice big space up here. We might put a bit of rubble up here to build a bit of an exchange or something in here, because it's quite a nice big flat area. Yeah.
That line up there, when you stand there, sorry, and that line looks really nice as you know.
Yeah,
as you come
yeah,
out.
absolutely. It's difficult to see at the moment.
Yeah. But...
again, if you have a look over here, I used the drape. You know, we had to double fold it here, so I used the drape as cliff fronts, and that's what's given me that effect there. And once you kind of darken it all up and lighten it, it completely disappears. But yeah, this is definitely a lot more of a trail rather than a stone yard that we've got next door. Some real nice big lines that push you over to the edge. I always force the rigs to the edge. It makes it a lot more exciting. It's not very exciting if they've got nowhere to fall. Reactive terrain wouldn't be the same. The majestic sound of a rig falling on from a height. So, you know, and yeah, I mean, this place is up to me waist. So it's 3 foot deep. This massive mountain mound. I think we've done all right. I think we pulled enough lines out of it. Tomorrow, once we get it carved, I'm really looking forward to it. You're right there.
Well, I'm still cold. I mean, come on.
Hasn't warmed up at all here, is it?
It is out there.
Well, it's kind of.
Shining.
Yeah, it has been. Right, I'm going to put the camera down and we'll just explain where we're going with the concept, because I think we've kind of got that nailed down now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we really got into the drifters, we really wanted this whole mountainside drifting. We didn't want a course or a track or anything like that.
It's where it started.
It's where it started, in the Japanese mountains, through the tight, windy roads. And we learnt very early on that they don't go up slopes, you know, to our huge disappointment.
We did try.
But you live and learn. So this whole drift course is on one level. That's why the crawler course is all up and down, which actually does give it a really nice feel, because now we're starting to blend it all in and start seeing the look. It really does look quite nice.
For me, it's blended in really well.
Yeah.
I wanted the drift course to go in and out of the mountain, and to be honest, we've kind of achieved what we wanted.
Yeah.
We haven't got much of a drift course because everybody builds them so they wind back on themselves. And,
yeah, a compromisation.
You know.
Look, we got what we wanted. It is as long as we can make it. So, and you can get to the end, you know, spin around and go back again. So theoretically, you've got 2 courses, one forwards, one reverse. So when you think of it like that,
yeah,
it's not a bad layout.
No.
So we've decided to go along the routes of Japanese mountains, and I've done a bit of research on what the stone looks like. And that's the thing, when you get geographical different positions in the world, from Arizona with its sandstone and that kind of orangey yellow and dark browns, to the Scottish mountains, which are very dark, heavy grey mountains, whereas Japanese mountains are very pale rocks.
Yeah, I was surprised how pale they were.
Yeah, so we're going to be quite pale on this side. We're quite heavily and grey and dark in there. This side's going to be very pale colour. We're still going to blanket it with black, because black goes right into all the dark depths and really helps it. But our light colour, which is what is the last colour we put on that, is going to be our second colour on this. So we're going to go black, then we're going to go gemstone, and heavily dry brush it. So we've got barely any black. It's just kind of in the depths,
Very,
and then
deep.
We're going to back with a almost light to even some brushes of white around, just to really brighten it up. And then we're going to be hitting it with some bonsais that are going to be hanging from the rock faces, as do, and the Japanese mountains are very green.
They are
very lush.
I'm a bit like, how much greenery?
How many trees are you going to make? Well, we solved the tree problem, and we're going to share that in one of our other videos once we've received them and can green light them. But we think we may have solved that. And also, I think with what we were looking at, is kind of the oranges and the yellows and stuff like
and
that.
the pinks and the kind of colours that you associate with it.
Yeah, so a little bit more colour. The moss is definitely going to be key in here. We're definitely going to be whacking a lot of moss in a lot of places. I'd say we might even throw a couple of pink blossoms in some places to really pack that feel of the Japanese mountainside. So yeah, looking forward to that, but it's going to be a lot. Well, luckily, is it as big? I mean, it is as big as next door.
No, it's not. It's not as big because it's not as long.
No,
we've only got half the work.
And I suppose, if we do our moss run, the moss runs we probably do, you'd probably get a lot of coverage with the moss. You would. So that's definitely something that we're going to do.
And the advantage with the moss is that once it's died, we can spray it.
I mean, if we water our moss literally every weekend. So every weekend we come down here, we give it a good spray with water, and it seems to be okay. I mean, in areas. In the summer, it does. If it gets really hot, it does get a bit dry and die off. But as G-Dog said, once it starts dying off and goes brown, you can hit it with an aerosol can of green, and it's back being green forever. So definitely a great product, and you can literally go to the woods and salvage it wherever you want.
Yeah.
We're going to tidy up, head on home, get some food in us, and see how cold it is tomorrow morning.
Yeah.